Well, folks, that's a wrap. The season is officially over, and we saw some wild endings to a couple of games. Couple, like we said, not so important. Couple super important. Let's dive right in. I'd say Cardinals-Rams had a little bit to do with the playoff picture, but not much. 37-20, Rams get the win. Chiefs get the win. I'm sorry, Chiefs lose to the Raiders. The Raiders are not really understanding. They already have the first spot tied up for the draft. Is that why they don't care if they win or lose?
Yeah, they don't care.
14-12.
This is his last game, so they went out with a bang.
Eagles didn't care about the win. They benched a lot of their starters. Commanders get the win 24-17. Patriots did have their starters out. I guess they're tying up that number one seed they were going for, at least their division, 38-10. Lions, Bears, 19-16. Lions get the win over the Bears. And again, none of these are relevant. A couple games that mattered. One of them is that Ravens-Steeler matchup. Guys, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but we feel like a couple weeks ago on the show, if you listened, you heard us ask the question, Harbaugh or Tomlin, who goes first? Tim, it looks like with the 26-24 win the Steelers get, unfortunately, Jim Harbaugh was the one to go first, as we found out today that the Harbaugh was released by the Raiders after the loss.
Yeah, and we taught. I mean, John Harbaugh has been there for 18 years now, I think, right? And so 18 seasons at least. And I think we said it wouldn't be shocking, but it's still just the fact that it actually came true. You know, obviously everyone's, time with an organization has to end, right? Belichick's ended, I mean, Andy Reid will end at some point, sometime soon. But I think to actually see it come true, and personally, I was pulling for the Steelers because I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan and a Steelers fan as well. But
Right.
You feel for Baltimore, especially the way they lost with the kicker missing the field goal, and then that happening to be Harbaugh's last game. But he is not done coaching. He's a good coach, and I think it was just time for change for both parties.
Yeah, Adam Schefter reported that he had 18 seasons, 180 wins, 113 loss, 13-11 postseason record, and he's a Super Bowl champion. Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, yes, he is released, and no, it's been a little bit of a stagnant couple of years there. They haven't had much growth. They haven't had that playoff win they've been seeking. But he got released, and then according to CBS Sports, 7 teams called John Harbaugh's agent within 45 minutes of getting fired. So like Tim said, he's absolutely not done coaching unless that is his choice. But he's definitely going to be in contention to be that number one head coaching vacancy fill.
100%. Okay. We'll get into that here in a couple of minutes. Let's keep moving with these scores just so we can get past and talk about some bigger things. The Panthers-Bucks was riddled with who's going to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, it also had a lot to do with if the Saints or Falcons won. All this to say the Buccaneers get the win 16-14, but with the Falcons getting the win against the Saints, the Panthers make the playoffs. Go figure. Another one that shored up a seed, of course, would have been the Seahawks 13-3 win over the 49ers. Seahawks are starting to roll. Texans get the win 38-30 over the Colts. Again, nothing changing our playoff picture as the Texans were in. And a shocker, guys, the Browns get the win over the Bengals. Nobody's shocked, let's be honest, with a 20-18 win. However, we finally have a sack leader in Myles Garrett. Congratulations. He is the sole sack leader, guys. Finally. Did y'all know he was going to get this, or?
I think last week we said he definitely would. I think I said 100% was the correct quote. So, yeah, I didn't know this going into the year, obviously, but it was. If you told me this week 1 he would be the sack leader, I probably wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And let me ask Tim. Actually, we don't have one resident Packer fan tonight. We have 2 resident Packer fans tonight, as we have Ethan join us for the first time. Ethan, thanks for taking time away from your break to jump on with a bunch of lunatics and talk about football. I'll ask both of you Packer fans your opinion. Did Joe Burrow lay down as easy as Brett Favre did with Michael Strahan?
I was actually at that Strahan-Favre game in 2001. And so, I don't know. No, Favre like 100% laid down. I don't know. Burrow, I actually kind of – I've watched the play a few times. I thought Myles Garrett could have been offsides. I don't know. He just got a great jump. But, I'm happy for Myles Garrett. No, I don't think Burrow laid down for him. Not the way Favre did. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I will say the stats are there, but I know I'm not the only one to ever talk about this, but there should be an asterisk next to that thing because he has an extra game to get that record. Obviously, introduced in the 18th week just a few years ago. So, very impressive nonetheless. But got a little bit of help with that extra game.
Well, Strahan reminded the world that he got the extra game to do it.
Yeah, and TJ Watt had his when he tied Strahan in 15 games.
Yeah.
It's true.
Because he was hurt.
Take any of those numbers with what you will, but yes, Myles Garrett is our king. Looking back, 100 years from now, if no one beats him, Myles Garrett's still gonna be the leader there. So
yeah, you can't take it away. And guys, here's the truth: like 1,000-yard rushing was a thing back when there was 12 games, 14 games. So the standards change for sure. So there's unfortunately no way to do that. But speaking of the Packers, again, nothing to do with the playoffs. They lose to the Vikings 16-3. Guys, are we seeing a trend with our good friend J.J. McCarthy, our beloved favorite quarterback in the NFC North there? Because my guy wouldn't even shake people's hands or take medication when he hurt his hand again. Is this guy – do we even have the energy to talk about J.J. McCarthy anymore?
I'll bring it home, and it could be the last time we talk about him until next year if he's still playing.
Amen.
So the play, he hurt his hand last week or 2 weeks ago, hit someone in the helmet with his hand. He missed a week. Max Brogdon started, came back. I think it was early in the game. It was only he only played a few drives.
Right,
he signaled to the sideline that his hand was hurting, called himself out of the game. Max Brogdon finished the game, and he was jumping up and down on the sidelines, getting hyping up his players. But I'm like, come on, we would see every other quarterback have to get pulled from the game. Why are you benching yourself when your hand's hurt? I mean, I understand it's your throwing hand and all that stuff.
Couldn't hold a football, he said.
You were throwing just fine. Justin Jefferson cracked his 1,000 yards this game. I mean, he was throwing the ball relatively fine, and then for some reason, one throw, he couldn't handle it anymore, and he benched himself. So it's kind of embarrassing. I'm sure it hurts the locker room more than we think it does. I mean, those things kind of matter, I think, especially when he's barely holding on to that locker room, I feel like. So, I don't know. I'm sure he's a great dude, but that was a little hard for me to let go. I think that was a little hard.
So, Ethan, I know you listened to the show, but just to get your opinion on this, we think J.J. McCarthy's a joke and that the franchise is crazy for starting him. What are your opinions?
Agree.
Simple put.
Yeah, I think the Vikings, what they were trying to do is kind of what the Packers did with Rodgers and having Love sit behind Rodgers for a few years. However, the Vikings got a little bit impatient, only having Sam Darnold starting for 1 year, and thought that it was the right time to go with McCarthy. And I don't know if they're still thinking that after this regular season ended. I don't know.
It's hard to see what they were thinking starting him. But let me get through the rest of these scores of meaningless games. The Jacksonville Jaguars actually rolled 41-7 over the Titans. That was laughable. Where we saw Ward go out, actually. I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
The Giants, another game that doesn't matter.
Before he went out.
He did look good. He looked pretty good all year considering. His whole coaching regime is going to change, and he's had really no hope in winning a football game.
Hopefully he doesn't get Baker Mayfield, and he has 4 different coordinators in 3 years and all that stuff. So
the Giants, here the joke, y'all, for those of you that are not Jerry Jones fans, the joke's on you. Because my understanding is the Giants, who were just power hungry, had to beat the Cowboys. We bench Dak. We lose 34-17. Laughable game. But the Giants are so proud of themselves that they allowed the Cowboy and the loss to get 5 spots up in the draft. We're drafting 12 now because of a single game with which the Giants were mad for the win. So thank you, G-Men, for those 5 additional spots in the draft. I mentioned the Rams and Cardinals already. Raiders, Chiefs. Let's talk about the game. This would have mattered in a perfect world, but Broncos 19, Chargers 3. Chargers, of course, are resting their quarterback for the playoffs. We already know the Broncos got that spot. Bills 35-8 over Jets. Again, Jets laughable season. Let's land on this, and this is the last game we need to talk about in terms of getting all the scores out to you. Steelers win 26-24. We talked about it a minute ago. Guys, let's just unpack it a little bit because along with the Seahawks game where they secured dominance, this gives the Steelers the North, which many of us said by the skin of our teeth we said they'd win the North a long time ago. But this Ravens team obviously is not the same. It's not going to be the same with a coaching regime change. And, of course, Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, all the love, Tim. They're just love fest right now. In fact, Josh, I hear Hayward had a career year in his senior statesman for the Steelers as an interior lineman, like leading the league in tackles or something absurd. Is that true that Hayward's had a dominant year as an interior lineman?
He did. He had a great year, and he did. But man, that was a heck of a game. And going to the game for a second, the Ravens looked like they were going to run away with it, like literally run away with it, right? The Pittsburgh could not stop Derrick Henry at first. I thought, all right, here we go. I mean, it looked like it was going to be. It was 7-0, 4 minutes into the game. And then the Ravens, I don't. You could say Pittsburgh adjusted their D, but the Ravens also stopped handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. I don't know why that game plan changed.
Makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But one of the best fourth quarters of the year, and coming down, it would have been great if it was in week 5. It would have been still a great fourth quarter.
Sure.
But making it the fact that it was the last regular season quarter of the year. Just phenomenal drama for the NFL. Such good stuff.
Caleb?
Yeah, obviously, like Tim said, it's probably one of the better games the Steelers have played as far as entertaining-wise. I know that they had some struggles in this game with missed kicks and all that stuff. But it's the game where Lamar Jackson only threw 18 times, had 11 completions. All of their scores outside of field goals were touchdowns over 30 yards. The first one, 38 yards to Tez Walker. The next one, 50 yards to Zay Flowers, and another one, 64 yards to Zay Flowers. So their big play was great, but they did abandon the run for some reason at the end of the game, like Tim was saying. And we got vintage Aaron Rodgers, which is great, 2-minute drill to seal the deal. So that's always good to see. But the Steelers get the Texans next week. So what Texans are going to show up is the question. If Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter decide to play great football, I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a shot getting away from that pass rush. But if Stroud comes out willy-nilly like he has the past few games, I don't think that the Steelers are just going to roll over and let him win. I think that the Steelers have a great chance to win this game. Yeah, a little forecast. But, yeah, the Steelers ended 10-7, right where we thought we would. We had an episode like week 3 or 4 talking about they are the Kings of the North that we thought they'd be. That was before Lamar was hurt and missed all that time. That was before Joe Burrow. We knew he'd miss 85% of the games or whatever it was. And that's before we knew that Joe Flacco is actually leaving the Browns and going to the Bengals. So
I think the week that we claimed them of the North was because Burrow and Jackson were out, and we did not know that they were going to be getting Flacco. And
we didn't know it was going to be as bad as it was.
Yeah. Ethan, what's your take on this game? The significance, the loss, the final field goal to win it or lose it, rather?
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit all the right spots, but the final just 5 minutes of this game was absolutely ridiculous. Like, there were 4th down conversions, missed kicks, multiple missed kicks, big plays. It was just back and forth, great football, perfect way to end the regular season. The emphasis on not staying with the run game. They ran all over my Green Bay Packers the week prior. And it's not that the Steelers defense is that much better than the Green Bay Packers, if it is at all. So, and you saw that it worked in the first quarter. And so I just don't understand why they didn't stick with Derrick Henry, who is infamously one of the toughest running backs to take down. But it bit him in the end. I know it was a missed kick that ended it, but you could argue if they just keep running the ball, they never are in that situation. But it was a great game nonetheless. Yep.
Josh, bring us home.
Yeah, I mean, y'all mentioned how well they're running the football. I think Derrick Henry had over 80-something yards in that first quarter. Obviously they were doing very well there. He ended the game with 126 rushing yards at a 6-yard average. And Lamar Jackson only had 11 completions on 18 pass attempts, but he had 240 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. They were highly efficient in this game, so I don't know ultimately what happened and why they didn't continue running like you all mentioned. But to be able to hit those 2 deep touchdowns, one being 50-plus yards for Zay Flowers, 64 yards for Zay Flowers, both of those being scores, I just don't see how the Ravens didn't walk away with a win with all these things that we're discussing. I mean, the efficiency for the Steelers, you're talking about Kenneth Gainwell beating the leading receiver with 8 catches for 64 yards, Calvin Austin, Pat Freiermuth, Adam Thielen. This slow-paced offense, this dump-off offense somehow took care of a team that was highly efficient against them, and it doesn't make sense at all. And then obviously looking at how John Harbaugh gets fired after this game, I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit more, but a kick from Tyler Loop being made and sending him to the playoffs completely changes this division. Because as we talked about, this could have been easily Tomlin's time to be fired if this was the opposite side for them. So very interesting for what's going on. Obviously, as Tim prefaced, 18 years with the team. We'll see if they can rekindle this team and play as well as John Harbaugh has had them play in recent years.
Yeah, and we made some jokes, or maybe not jokes, maybe we forecasted that if the Bills get an early exit, and Ethan, I'll ask you how you feel about this, actually. We said last week that and I don't know who said it, so you can claim it if you want, but if the Bills get an early exit, it depends on who's available in the coaching, as far as coaching candidates, before they make up their mind as to move on from their head coach. If they take an early exit, do you think it's a viable option that if the Bills take a first-round exit, they could be looking to move on from their coach as well?
It's tough. I mean, look, Sean McDermott is a great coach. It's been around there for a few years. It's still a great team. You could argue it. Obviously Jacksonville's a very strong opponent, but I'm getting ahead a little bit, but if there's any year for the Bills to win it, it's this year. No Chiefs, no Ravens. So yeah, you can make an argument for it.
All right, before we jump into the talking about playoff games and matchups, as we alluded to, let's talk about what's happened in the last 3 days. Josh, it started with Raheem Morris. You said he didn't deserve to get fired on January 4th. The Atlanta Falcons parted ways. Looks like they are moving on. I know McKay has been moved out of the front office, and they're about to announce a new president. Many people think it's Matt Ryan because of the relationship he has with the owner. It's completely being shaken up in the Falcons. You said Raheem Morris did not deserve it.
I said that.
No.
Oh, Caleb did?
Well, yeah. Caleb, but I'll just mention the point that I made last week is just how much they've committed with their picks. Obviously, Michael Penix being their guy after they paid Kirk Cousins, that was clear and obvious. So that's who they thought would be their franchise guy. And they still have him on his rookie deal, of course, and he still didn't finish another year. It's had so many career-ending, season-ending injuries. So we'll see if they even continue to rely and depend on him for their future. But also trading their future first to get James Pierce to pair 2 first-round edge rushers last year. So they don't have a pick this year that their new head coach will be able to choose and select from to build onto that team. So he's kind of acquiring the same team and trying to string it together, and we'll see what happens, of course. But to be 8-9 and tied at the top of your division, it seems pretty wild to, obviously not a great division right now, but it seems pretty wild to just let them go this early into the development of those players that I mentioned.
Let's make it fun. We used to do a little thing called buy or sell. So, Kay, let me ask you. The Atlanta Falcons fired Raheem Morris. You buying or selling? Is it good for them or bad for their team?
I think it's bad. I think we saw, especially not the press conference, but the locker room after that game, that those players want to play for him. He has that locker room swayed towards him. And I just think it's not fair. He's only been there 2 years. We got to remember, they really haven't rebuilt since Matt Ryan's left. They kind of just been in this weird lull. Their O-line's been a revolving door. Their whole defense has been a revolving door. They just now got rid of all their old players the last few years. And he's only been there 2 years. Like I said, he's 8-9 both years. Their defense is the youngest defense in the league, and they were, I think, top 10 on most stats across the board. They played out of their minds some games. Some games they were really bad, and they looked like rookies. But I just don't think he deserved it. I mean, his quarterback, like Josh said, Michael Penix, hasn't been healthy either of those years. And 8-9, I think, is a solid finish in a division where it's really a game or two away to be the lead of that division, especially this year. I just think it's too early. It's not fair. They must know who they're hiring, and they just knew it was coming at some point. So there are coaches like Stefanski and now Harbaugh, which we just talked about, who are available. So I'm curious to see what they do. But I think Raheem Morris definitely deserves to be a coach somewhere still. He's not an awful coach. His tenure is too short to know if he's terrible. So I just think it was a little early.
Tim?
I agree with every single thing Caleb just said. I do. I don't know that he's an incredible coach, but I also don't know that he's a terrible coach. It goes back to what you always say, Dave. Who's next? If you're going to get rid of these guys, who do you have coming in? Because if they're going to take a gamble on a coordinator, then I think it's a bad move. Because they already knew what they had in Raheem Morris. And the team, you heard Bijan after the game, he wanted him back. And so you already had a coach that the players were willing to play for. Now, if you bring in Harbaugh, I guess you could argue, okay, or,
2 days after the fact, though,
I know. Well, it is interesting that Josh said, or Josh, your quote from was it Shefty or whoever, that 7 teams. Well, I think there's only 6 teams with openings right now, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe so I think there's even teams that haven't even made fire. I still think Todd Bowles is in trouble too, by the way. That's another side note. But I think there's teams still trying to feel out, like, what the best option is for their coaching thing. I still think we'll see one more head coach fired.
Ethan, you buying or selling this?
I agree with you guys. I think it's a bad move. In a division that is as bad as it is, and it's not looking like that there's going to be a dominant team next year. It's not like, oh, Panthers won the division, they'll run away with it next year. Absolutely not. The Atlanta Falcons were 4-9 at one point in the season and were completely out of the picture, eliminated. They ended the season with 4 straight wins, and had they not lost to the 2-9 Jets earlier in the year, they would have won the division. They would have won the division at 9-8. So, yeah, I think it's a bad move. Like you guys said, I don't know who they must know who they're going to get, but I think it's too early. And especially just with the other teams in their division, the door is wide open. So I don't agree with the fire.
And then we'll move on. I'm the 3-year guy. I'm the one that says, give him 3 years. Let him at least try 3 years. You don't know until 3 years. Yep. And I'm also like you said, Tim, who's the next guy before you make the call. However, I think the guy's been a bum coach since he got there. I haven't seen this team turn a franchise around. Yes, they got Pitts and they got Bijan, and which should have made their team better. I think Pitts is not Pitts. I think drafting Penix is a disaster. I think moving away from Kirk Cousins too soon was a disaster. That's all coaching stuff. The fact that they couldn't beat a 2-9 Jets team is coaching. So I like the guy. Again, nothing personal. I'm sure his kids love him. But at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of his coaching style. I don't think that he brings enough to the table. I think he's a defensive coordinator prior, correct?
Yeah,
a good one.
Rams Super Bowl. Yeah.
All right, let's not spend as much time on the next candidate, but Cleveland Browns on the 5th decided to move on from Kevin Stefanski. Everybody thinking on this panel is going to agree that that's probably premature.
Yes. Yeah, I could start real quick. He was 45-56 regular season record with the Browns, which you think about the Browns, I mean,
that's a win for the Browns.
He got them their first playoff victory in 26 years in that season that he went with, I think it was Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco combo.
Is he also responsible for bringing in Watson?
That was more of a GM decision, I think, but he likes him. And remember, Josh talked about a few weeks ago, the Browns had the okay for Watson to play. He was cleared by the league. They trade all that for him. They sign him to that deal.
I mean, I get
and then
the okay.
A few months into the offseason, they decide, oh, never mind, he's not playing this year. So they kind of got the short stick there. And, it's not been fair for that. But he was coach of the year in 2020 and 2023 with this team. So he's not a terrible coach. I think it's ridiculous in my opinion, because look at the games they played this year. Every game they were close. Every game outside of maybe 1 or 2, it was a close game. Their defense was top 3 in most categories. I just think, they had Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Shedeur Sanders playing quarterback this year.
Nightmare.
A rookie running back who missed some time in the preseason with an off-the-field issue and then got hurt, broke his leg. So the run game's been up and down. It's not consistent. Yeah. Their leading receiver is a tight end who's 21 years old. He's a rookie. Team's too young. It's rebuilding. Their Mike linebacker, Jeremiah Usu-Cormo, is out the whole year with a neck injury. It's just they're banged up. They're young. They do have the sack leader. It's just they need to either figure out what they're doing and blow up everything, or if they're trying to compete now, which apparently they're trying to, why'd they fire their coach who's won Coach of the Year 2 years? So I just don't understand it. The Browns will be the Browns.
Anybody else want to chime in?
That's right.
I have some thoughts if you don't mind. Ending off the season, the last 2 seasons, you go 3-14 and 5-12. If you take just those years, obviously we know he has a history before that. If you take just those 2 years, he's probably getting fired, right? So I don't think it's surprising. But with that said, there is a lot of things and a lot of details that go into it. And I think all of us agreed here that he's a quality head coach. He went into, Caleb outlined a lot of different things, but his first season with the Cleveland Browns, 11-5, right? 70% win rate, or 68-8 So obviously close enough there. But turning around the Cleveland Browns immediately, the next year, y'all remember Baker Mayfield with his shoulder injury and how he was playing well, and then he got hurt, and then their season kind of turned down from there. They went 8-9, so they just missed. And then the next year, they acquired Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, yes, he missed basically his first year with the Browns, but he also missed the entire previous year holding out with the Texans. So we now know the impact of holding out for multiple seasons. You need time to regain and to regather and to, you can't just jump back in and be the same exact guy. We know, of course. But then the next year, 11-6 with Joe Flacco, and then 3-14 and 5-12. So, yeah, he's had highs. He's won Coach of the Year twice, as Caleb mentioned. But it was 11-5, 8-9, including an asterisk with the injury there to Baker Mayfield. They move on from him. Then they have to start Jacoby Brissett because they acquired Deshaun Watson, and they went 7-10. Jacoby Brissett, we all agree, played well this year. Well, the Arizona Cardinals finished 3-14, so he's not winning games, but he's playing well enough. So I think we need to consider the quarterback situation with Kevin Stefanski. It's unfortunate that everything didn't go as planned, of course, but I think it's justified at least. But I do think he'll get another shot.
Tim, Ethan, want to wrap it up?
No, I agree. I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. I think he's going to land very quickly. I think there's a bunch of teams, including the New York Giants, that are very interested in Kevin Stefanski.
Which would be terrible for me on a personal level.
I know it would be.
All right. We talked about Harbaugh just a bit. Jonathan Gann and Pete Carroll also let go on the 5th. So that's Raiders let go of Pete Carroll. Cardinals let go of Jonathan Gannon. Any surprises? Anybody at all? I mean, Pete is what, 110 now?
Yep.
I don't know why you're building a franchise around a 110-year-old guy. He's I have a mixed emotions about Pete because obviously he did a great job in Seattle. He did a great job as a college coach, but he's been a failed NFL coach prior. This is definitely a failure. It's just a shame, But a couple of honorable mentions if you guys don't have anything to add about these guys. 2 offense coordinators have been given permission or parted ways. Cliff Kingsbury is leaving the organization to pursue other opportunities, per head coach Dan Quinn. And, of course, Dan Campbell's homeboy John Morton, they're parting ways with the offense coordinator. Like you said, Josh, what in the world did he do with Dan Campbell calling all the plays? So that's 2 notable. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys officially move on from Matt Eberflus since we last talked. So they will be moving on and looking for their 4th defense coordinator in 4 years, guys. And that, I believe, should be the coaching carousel. As we know, that leaves what, Josh? 5 coaches got fired this week, and 2 are already gone in Titans and Giants. So that said, the Cardinals allegedly, according to NBC, Fox Sports, NFL, the Cardinals have requested interviews with Broncos defense coordinator Vance Joseph, 49ers defense coordinator Robert Saleh, Dolphins defense coordinator Anthony Weaver, which I didn't know he was a thing, Seahawks OC Clint Kubiak, and Patriots pass game coordinator, bro. You're reaching when you're going for a pass game coordinator. But those are the Arizona candidates so far. And, of course, as you guys mentioned, Kevin Stefanski is on just about everyone's list to interview. I think Tim mentioned. So is Clint Kubiak, the OC in Seattle. So is defense coordinator Anthony Weaver. He seems to be on everybody's list. So too early to predict anything. Yeah. I just hope Stefanski doesn't go to the Giants. Let's just be honest.
5 of the top 6 picks in this upcoming draft, those head coaches were fired. The other coach remaining there is Aaron Glenn in his first year, and he still may be fired this offseason. We don't know. But
I have a funny Jet stat real quick.
Okay.
So Garrett Wilson ended the season with 395 receiving yards. He actually led the Jets in receiving this year, and his last time catching a football was week 6. So for 12 weeks, he did not play football and still led the team.
Possible?
It doesn't make any sense.
Can I tell you why the Titans are doomed to fail? The word on the street is that they're set to interview former Dallas Cowboy head coach Jason Garrett, and they're also set to schedule Chiefs offense coordinator Matt Nagy. Now, I'm not Nostradamus, but I've seen Matt Nagy coach before, and it wasn't good for Chicago.
If you want to go 8-9, those 2 guys are great.
Right, exactly. They're great.
I'm kind of baffled, to be honest, that they would want either one of those 2 guys. To be honest, Matt Nagy has not been as productive as an offense of coordinator. The Chiefs the second time, I think Eric Bieniemy was probably a more productive OC.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, they had Tariq Hill, and wanted a run game on their roster.
More
for some
life
reason.
out of Travis
Yeah.
Kelce.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this. As we look into the draft, there shouldn't be any surprise in this, but I want to give you these numbers. Currently, based on the season ending, the Vegas Raiders, of course, with their 3-14 record. Now, make no mistake, there were 4 teams that ended 3-14, but it looks like Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, and Titans are your 4 top picks this year. The Giants at 4-13 will be the 5th pick. Cleveland Browns, Washington Commanders were all 5-12. They'll be 6-7. The Saints get the 8th pick. Chiefs get a 9th pick. Unbelievable. And the Bengals get the 10th pick. So your top 10 draft right there. I mentioned that Dallas is number 12 with their little move the other day. So that's significant as well. All right. Done with the coaching carousel. Do you guys predict any other coaches will be moved on? I mean, this is early in the week, but we know Black Monday was just a couple days ago they call it, where most of these guys get fired. Any other coaching carousel that you guys think could happen that I'm missing or that you predict? You got your crystal balls out? Anybody thinking anything else could happen?
Yeah, I think Stan covered it last week. Sean McDermott. If they get blown out this
Stan.
first round,
Yeah.
I think if that happens, that he's on the hot seat for sure. Because we talked about it last week a lot. He made some questionable roster decisions. We've talked about it. Y'all know what the Bills are, no wide receivers, etc. But yeah, go ahead.
Here's one for you. What about Sirianni?
Yeah.
He's so controversial. If just go with me here. If the Eagles for some reason lose at home this week to the Niners, first round exit, they've had such a soap opera season of like fighting on the sidelines the last few seasons. I know they just won the Super Bowl last year. Yeah. Any shot that Sirianni's in trouble? I know the fans have a love-hate relationship with him. What do you guys think? Any shot he's out or no?
I mean, I thought he could have been out, 2 years ago. If anytime they lost, he could be out. So
I say no. But it is way more dramatic than any other winning team we've had in recent history.
Right.
If they win 10 games, and I mean they only won 11. If they lose to the Bills, what is the response there when they see that they're 10-7, they're barely going in the playoffs? They won their division, but they're barely going in compared to the rest of the NFC, right? So I think that's the real argument is their division did poor enough this year that they're guarded. Whereas if Jaden Daniels is healthy and they do a little bit better and the Cowboys aren't in their first year of their team under this new regime, I think if the division's close like it traditionally is, then I think that's a real conversation. But I don't know if it is right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think the leash gets a lot shorter, and I think that their OC goes the moment the game's over.
Well, they get rid of them every year. Anyway.
They want him out regardless. I mean, 0 yards in the second half last week.
Right.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy.
All right, boys, don't look at your screens or iPhones. Who has the longest playoff drought currently in the NFL?
Oof.
Which team?
Jets. Jets. Yep. 15 years. The Jets.
Jets.
Hey, baby.
I was 3.
Who has the next longest drought? NFC team with 8 years.
Cardinals.
NFC.
Cardinals are on the list, but they're not next. 8 years.
Yeah, they went with Palmer. They went with Murray once.
Oh, they got
with Murray.
Yeah, that's right. They did make one.
This team,
with Peyton Manning, cousin.
This team was a 2017 NFC divisional round. Falcons are
Saints.
number 2.
Yeah.
The third team with 5 years, with which they won an AFC wild card 5 years ago.
Brownies.
I thought you were right.
Titans.
Nope, they're 4 years, so you're right there on the crab. They won an AFC divisional round.
Is it the Raiders?
Raiders are also 4 years. In 2021, it won an AFC wild card. No, the team with 5 years is let me read them. So the Jets are on a 15-year streak of not making the playoffs. The Falcons are on an 8-year streak of not making the playoffs. Colts are on a 5th-year streak. The New Orleans Saints are on a 5 years, and then the 4-year teams missing the playoffs: Arizona, Las Vegas, and Tennessee. So there's a lot to be thankful for if you're a Jets fan. 15 years of bad luck.
Do we know who the Colts won with? Was that with Rivers?
It's 2020 AFC wild card game.
Matt Ryan.
So that'd be the year before.
Yeah, 2020
before Rivers.
Yeah, I think the year before. I think it was Matt Ryan, right?
Courtesy of Fox NFL Fox. All right, guys, let's talk about the worst to first in terms of seeds. We'll go ahead and get started with the NFC. We have an NFC matchup. The number 7 versus number 2 Green Bay Packers. 8 p.m. on Prime Video on Saturday, January 10th. Let's just get right into it. Green Bay visiting Chicago. We got 2 Packer fans here on the bottom of the screen. Anybody taking the underdog Green Bay Packers? That's a loaded question, you guys.
Right here. Come on. Yeah.
All right. I guess I should take notes.
I don't even know that they are the underdog anymore. At one point yesterday, they were slight favorites on the road. I think the line's pretty close. The Green Bay is limping into this one. Green Bay is not. If they were playing anybody else, I think I would pick against the Packers. But the Chicago Bears, not that history matters too much, but they're 5-25 in the last 30 matchups against the Packers. 5-25. How insane is that? I think, with a Romeo Doubs onside kick recovery the other week, it would be easily flipped. The Packers being the 2 seed, and the Bears, basically the Packers having the home field for this one. So I think they're both good teams. I think they're both flawed teams. I think the Packers find a way to grind it out and win it.
Ethan?
Yeah, I do have quite a bit to say on this game. I am taking the Packers as well. Before I even get to the game, I was shocked when they revealed that this game would be on Prime. The only division game of the weekend, they put it behind Amazon Prime. Maybe that's a strategic decision to try and get more people to purchase it. I don't know. But in my opinion, it's in the upper half of interesting games this weekend. These teams are so incredibly even. If you go back to the last 4 times they've played over the last 2 years, last year, Packers won on a blocked field goal. Then the Bears won on a walk-off field goal. Then this year, Packers had an interception in the end zone to end it. And then obviously the overtime bomb by Caleb Williams. So each team won 2 games in that aspect. So all 4 times it's been Caleb Williams, Jordan Love. It's come down to the wire. Let's see. Love is undefeated when playing all 4 quarters. So obviously the 2 times the Bears beat the Packers, Love got injured in the middle of the game. Here's an interesting fun stat. The Bears' last win was against the Packers, and the Packers' last win was against the Bears. Which is pretty funny.
That's crazy.
Packers are on a 4-game losing streak going into the playoffs, which does not come around often. I'm not going to lie. 4 L's in a row for Green Bay. Bears back-to-back losses. In terms of both sides, Packers obviously with resting their starters, I could see their offense starting out slow. But also this Bears defense is very suspect. So I could see Love also carving up the defense, especially in the second half of the game. The Bears this year remind me of last year's Commanders. They've kind of been the destiny team all year long. They've had so many under 2-minute comebacks. I'm pretty sure it's tied for the NFL record. They bring it up every week.
Right.
But almost every single game this regular season has come down to the wire for them, and they've been clutch in a lot of the games. Yeah. And we just saw it this past week when they played the Lions. They were down 16-0 going into the 4th, I believe, and came back to tie it up with a few minutes to spare as well before they ultimately went on to lose. This Bears defense, I said they're suspect, but also no surprise, they're built on turnovers, obviously number 1 in the league, plus 22 turnover differential, which is crazy. Like that is nuts, by far leading the league. I think it's a very close game. I think it does come down to the wire. I do have the Packers. And the last thing I say is not often this happens, but I would say I'm speaking for all Packers and Bears fans. Packers fans wanted the Bears, and Bears fans wanted the Packers. Okay, I think this is the best matchup for both teams. And obviously, Ben Johnson, Matt LaFleur have a little bit of a heated rivalry. So, yeah, I'm nervous as a Packers fan. I'm sure Bears fans are nervous as well. If you lose, it's worst nightmare ever. If you win, it's best wildcard win ever. But I do have the Packers in this one.
Okay, guys, quickly up top, Caleb.
I'm torn, but I feel like Chicago is going to do it. I think that the Packers They got walloped by the Ravens, and then they benched their starters last week, so they haven't played since then. That might hurt them, it might help them. I don't really know, but yeah. Well, real quick, points for the Bears this year, 441. Packers points for this year, 391. So 50-point difference there. But when you look at points against, 415 for Chicago, 360 for Green Bay, 45 there. So they're pretty evenly matched, as Ethan was saying. So it's going to be really close. You can probably flip a coin, but I'm going to go Bears.
Okay. Josh,
I do want the Packers to win, but I think the Bears will.
Thanks. That's good. Yeah.
Gotta cover my bases.
I think I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. You look at Matt LaFleur. I think Tim's mentioned this before. Matt LaFleur in December and January has a 24-7 combined record. So 78% win rate in these cold months. But also, as Ethan mentioned, the Bears are a team that gets a ton of turnovers, and that's what they rely on a ton. And their first matchup, they had their offensive weapons. Roma Dunze is still probably out in this game. And then Jordan Love this year has not really turned over the football a ton. He has 6 interceptions. Malik Willis, even in his starts, has 0 interceptions. And Clayton Tune, he started. His interception came off of a tip pass, I believe, to Bo Melton. So they're a low turnover offense. Josh Jacobs, I think, maybe has fumbled more than he ever has, but he's been injured all throughout the season. So I just think that the Bears living a ton on turnovers are not going to get the turnovers that they desire against this Packers team. Matt LaFleur does very well at this time of the year. And I know the stakes are high. I know the tension is there. And I know Ben Johnson's played well against Matt LaFleur, but he was on the Lions. And I just think the first-year team, the rebuilding team, is not going to take care of business in their first matchup under this regime. So I think the Packers have the advantage. They're healthier. As Caleb mentioned, they've been sitting essentially the last 2 games. So that's best for them, and I think they're going to come in hot and ready to play.
You know, I had DeAndre Swift all year, and my dude went off when he needed to go off. I think not having Micah Parsons is an issue for this team right now because they've had him early on, and there's a hole. I think they're not playing their best football right now. I like the rushing game that DeAndre Swift and the rest of Johnson has been bringing. They're at home at Soldier Field, hard to win. That, along with these two teams traditionally playing close games, and with Caleb Williams, as you mentioned, Ethan's late games heroics, I'm going with the Bears. Sorry. Yeah, I want the Packers to win, but I think the Bears at home, at least this 11-6 team, should shine. All right, this game should be easy. If anybody's taking, and you're right, Tim, by the way, you guys are 1.5-point favors going into this game as of today. All right, a 10.5-point favorite, LA Rams, are facing the Carolina Panthers, 5 seed, 4 seed. Best 5 seed I've seen coming in the NFC playoffs in a long time. Anybody taking the underdog Carolina Panthers? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay.
No, but you got to remember 2 or 3 weeks ago when they played, the Panthers put it on them and they beat them.
Yep,
so,
they did.
Okay.
The Rams got sleeping that game.
It's playoff football now, though.
It's playoff football now. This is McVay's been here, done that. He's been here a lot. Surprisingly, been here a lot. And this is Dave Canales' first playoff appearance. Bryce Young's first playoff appearance. Basically, everyone on that team's first playoff appearance. So I think the Rams have it. I don't know, 10.5. It seems like a lot, but I think a touchdown's fair. 6.5 is fair.
All right. So here's where all the rest of the games are tricky, in my opinion. Bills are 1.5-point favorite going to Jacksonville. Anybody taking the underdog Jacksonville Jaguars?
Oh,
yeah.
I think
100%.
everybody. No, Tim?
Can you really see Josh Allen going out in the first round, though?
Have you seen Jacksonville Jaguars play this year with their new coach?
I know. These are the 2 teams I don't know.
I'm scripting
I wish
it,
this
man.
was a championship game. I really do.
Jacksonville's going to beat them the first round.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go Bills just to be different. I'm going to lone wolf it and go Bills.
I don't think you're lone wolf.
I'm going Bills too.
Ethan's going Bills.
Okay. I do think that this is the best matchup of the weekend. Actually, I think this is the closest matchup. I am also, once again, with the schedule, surprised that they put this on at 1:00. I know Jacksonville is a smaller market, but this game has potential to have fireworks. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Neither defense is elite. We all know Josh Allen's Superman. Jags, great team as well. I do think Liam Cohen I've been going back and forth on this. I do think he should be front runner for Coach of the Year. There's so many great candidates, but Jags, man, the Jags are on fire. They're on an 8-game winning streak, I believe, and still I'm picking Buffalo, but it's such a toss-up.
Josh?
Yeah, I think the Jaguars have the best offense in the NFL right now. As Ethan mentioned, as far as this being their hot streak, I just think they've been unstoppable. You look at the teams that they've played against on this streak. The Chargers, they beat them 35-6. They put up 27 against the Cardinals, 25 against the Titans, 36 against the Colts, 48 against the Jets, 34 against the Broncos, and the Broncos weren't stopping them in that game. They also had missed potential deep throws in that game as well. So it could have been a 40-plus game against the Broncos and that defense. They beat the Colts again, and then 41 points stomping on the Titans, and they didn't even play that whole game. So, yeah, they're the best offense in the league right now. Trevor Lawrence has turned over the football once, I believe, in the last 6 games, and he's also scored multiple touchdowns, 3+ touchdowns in a lot of those games as well. So, yeah, I think they're the hottest offense right now with what the Rams have going on with their injuries to left tackle and to Devontae Adams. They've slowed down a little bit. I would say that they have a much significantly hotter offense than the Bills right now as well. You look at the quarterback. Yeah, you look at the quarterback comparison as well. Trevor Lawrence finished the year with 400 more yards through the air than Josh Allen and 4 more passing touchdowns. So statistically, as a quarterback throwing the football, he was a better quarterback this year. Josh Allen did have more rushing touchdowns. But for what it's worth, you compare the quarterback play and Trevor Lawrence outmanned Josh Allen. So I think they're a better offense, better team right now.
All right, moving on, we'll say this. House Hamby versus House Schneider on this one. We're split right down the house lines. Okay, here's another game we're probably going to, as a group, we're probably going to split on. The 4:30 game, as you mentioned, Ethan, that's a 1 o'clock game on CBS. But Fox has the 4:30 game on Sunday. This is going to be the San Francisco 49ers visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly is favored by 1.5. I'm going to go first, guys. I'm just going San Fran. Now, this is hard for me, Tim, because the 3 franchises that I complain about disliking is Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and San Fran. However, I think San Fran's offense is just more explosive than Philly's offense. And when it comes down to a shooting match, I don't, again, know who these Philadelphia Eagles are. So in my humble opinion, San Fran on the road will get the win, thus bringing the controversy with Nick Sirianni that you might have mentioned. Caleb?
I'm going to go Eagles. The San Francisco linebacker room is way too banged up. I think 3 or 4 of their starters are out, linebackers. This seems like a classic Saquon Barkley game. He's gotten hot the last few weeks. We've seen Brock Purdy, for fantasy, be great, but for real-life football, been pretty suspect. Multiple turnover games, multiple pick games. And this is the defense to screw up on, especially in Philly. I just think that Saquon Barkley is going to be too good. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's going to have to throw a lot in this game, regardless. I think that they're just going to run the ball. I think that's the game plan. But I think it'll probably be high scoring. I just think the defense is much better on the Eagles side, so I'd pick the Eagles.
Tim?
Yeah, I feel like since the middle of the year, I've been on the San Francisco bandwagon as far as like, oh man, they're this sneaky good team, and I've been kind of like, I hate San Francisco, but I've been like proud of myself that I've been on this. Like, yeah, no, they've come back and they're doing it with all these injuries. However, I'm about to stab them in the back again because I think it's an Eagles win and here's why. Last week's game was so telling to me. Last week in San Francisco, they needed the win, and they couldn't get it at home. It was essentially a playoff game for them, and they couldn't get that win. And so I think, here we are, a real playoff game, and they're in Philly, which we all know Philly's a tough place to play in. And I think for the same reasons Caleb just said, I think the Eagles win, but not by much. But I do think the Eagles win.
Josh?
Yeah, Caleb alluded to it. This San Francisco team, they've struggled interior linebackers for many weeks. Fred Warner's obviously out. Rookie Nick Martin, who they drafted to fill in that number 2 spot, is out. Tatum Bethune is out. who has been filling in and starting basically since Fred Warner's been hurt. D. Winters, highly questionable. Luke Gifford, highly questionable. Not to mention that Luke Gifford is their special teams guy. So they're going to have a massive hole there on the special teams with Luke Gifford probably out. And then they're going to have to start the likes of Curtis Robinson, who's already been hurt this year, and then Eric Kendricks, who they kind of activate and deactivate him every single week. So there's a problem there. He's older and he hasn't started the entire year, so they're going to be relying on him, which is seemingly the case for the 49ers every other year for some reason. They just need somebody to call up and fill in a massive role for no reason the second the playoffs start. But not to mention Ricky Pearsall, his knee injury is worse than they alluded to. He's going to be out. And then Trent Williams has been out the last couple of games, and that's where their struggles have been. And he's probably out as it stands right now. There's no update. So I'm going to take the Eagles. They're not going to be able to put the pressure on the Eagles' offense. 6 interceptions. That's third worst in the NFL for the 49ers. 20 sacks. That's dead last in the NFL. Their defense is not going to be able to stop A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith with 2 rookie DBs. If you watched the game last week, their number 1 corner, Deommodore Lenoir, does not travel with the number 1 receiver, so he's going to get whoever they decide to put over there. It could be Jahan Dotson. It doesn't matter. They're going to have one guy open against these rookies. I think it's a hard matchup for the 49ers with their circumstance.
All right, Ethan, take
correction. Eric Kendricks is 33. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, so I actually think the last 3 matchups we talk about, Packers, Bears, Bills, Jags, and Niners, Eagles, are the 3 best matchups of the week. Obviously, there's some great matchups. This one, once again, is very tough. I am going Philly. I'm sorry, Dave.
Okay.
I just think Philly, I just can't see them being bounced in the first round. They're at home. Niners are a great team, but they're banged up, like you guys said. Shanahan's a great coach, and I am a little suspect of the Eagles' passing game. But you guys brought up some good points, and yeah, I just think they're too good of a team, even with Sirianni and Hurts having some issues. I don't know what's going on with that franchise, but I can't see them getting bounced in the first round. And one fun stat I will add is the Eagles are actually the only repeating division winner this year out of all 8 divisions.
Yeah.
So 7 of the 8 divisions had new winners this year.
That's
and the
division
was the
where
only one.
No one wins the East back to back. It doesn't happen.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
The other thing is, guys, you have to remember this. Ethan, we say this all the time on the show. They don't say this. I say it. They'll pick on me about it. The gods of football, y'all. They rear their ugly head. They're fictional. There's only one God. We get this. But the point is that they rear their ugly head. That's why I think the Bills are gonna get shocked. That's why I think Philly's gonna get shocked. And remember, this is a coaching league. And it looks like the guy in Duval has been coaching his tail off this year. Probably should be coach of the year, if we're being honest. We talked about it. And it also looks like the guy in San Francisco, as much as I've been harsh on this dude, I've called him a clown many times. It looks like Shanahan has been coaching his tail off with a subpar group of talent, whereas Sirianni can't coach an all-star roster and run the football like he should.
You're absolutely right.
All right, so let's bring this home. 2 more to talk about.
One thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing. Does anyone know who ended as the receiving leader for the 49ers?
His name starts with a C.
It does.
Christian McCaffrey.
CMC?
Christian McCaffrey.
You mean run
And their
CMC?
sack. Yes. 924 yards. Obviously, that shows what their offense has been this year, dumping it off to them. But their sack leader this year, a whopping 4 sacks.
Wow.
And he's not even a starter. Yep,
Yeah.
he's not even their starter.
Wow.
But Josh, you're making my point because they've won 12 football games, mind you, one more than the Eagles, with a subpar team who has been getting it done and a healthy McCaffrey.
Yeah, well,
They've had half a Kittle. Go ahead.
Half a Kittle.
Their recent stretch has been against Shador Sanders, a rookie, Cam Ward, a rookie, Phillip Rivers, 44, and then they beat the Bears.
Have you seen the Eagles' recent stretch? I mean, I'm just saying. All right, let's talk about Chargers. Chargers are 3.5-point dogs to the Patriots at home. Patriots have been red hot all year, although, Tim, you have been criticized for saying that Drake May hasn't played anybody, which he hasn't. So let's just put it this way. New England at home, 3.5 versus Chargers. Who you got? Who wants to take it first? Ethan, why don't you go first?
All right, I'll go first. I have the Patriots at home winning. I feel like I'm a little bit boring taking all the favorites, but I really do think that this is how it will go, but we'll see. I have the Patriots. The Chargers O-line, we all know, is horrible. Playoff Herbert. No offense to the Chargers O-line. Still probably better than I could do. Herbert, playoff Herbert is sus. We all know the Chargers are built on their defense. Their defense is very good. And I do think that is the key matchup for this game is the Patriots offense versus the Chargers defense. How will Drake May look in his first playoff game against this Chargers defense? I don't think the Chargers defense will be able to – I shouldn't say that. I don't think the Chargers offense will be able to keep up with the Patriots offense.
Okay.
I just think the Patriots are the better team. I know that their schedule has been weak all year.
It has.
I do think this is one of the lower scoring games of the weekend. I could see it being like both teams in the low 20s. And this could be a close game.
Okay.
But I do have the Patriots in this one.
Tim?
Yeah, and I like Drake May. Going back to my comment from last week or 2 weeks ago, I do like Drake May. He's a good quarterback. My comment was just statistically. It wasn't an opinion thing. Statistically, they have played one of the weaker schedules in the entire league. So that was simply my point last week. I think Drake May is a very good quarterback, and I think he'll do fine. I think it helps that he's at home this week. I think the Chargers are a good draw for the Patriots. I like Herbert,
Yeah.
but I like Ethan said, I think that O-line is too busted up, and so I'm going Patriots.
Yeah, we have a number 2 seed versus number 7. Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to take Mike Vrabel in this game. The Patriots are just very well balanced. This offense and under Josh McDaniels is very familiar to the playoffs. They keep their guys healthy. They spread out the ball a lot. It's very evident there. I mean, you just look at the running game. Henderson, Stevenson, May, any one of the three of them are going to be running the football. And then you go through all of their receivers that they've been able to utilize every single week. Diggs, Henry, Butte, Douglas, Mac Hollins is out, but Austin Hooper even, Efton Chisholm and Kyle Williams even the last couple of weeks. I mean, you never know how you're going to get attacked with this offense. And then like y'all are saying, I just don't think that a team with a poor offensive line like the Chargers is going to be able to sustain long enough against a team like this that is able to score with a number of guys. I know it's the opposite side of the football, but I just don't think they're going to be able to contend. They haven't been running the football well, the Chargers that is, with Omarion Hampton. If you have him in fantasy, it's because he caught 8 passes last week and scored a touchdown, not because he ran the ball well. Yeah. I think it's problematic, as y'all have mentioned, so Patriots for sure.
KLB Lone Wolfen?
No, I'm going Patriots. Because the Patriots have scored 490 points this year.
Yeah,
the Chargers
sure
have scored 368, 122-point differential there. And like Josh said, the Patriots spread it out a lot, and it's a Hunter Henry revenge game. So look for Hunter Henry to be a big
the
game.
revenge game.
Yeah, so I think Vrabel, the team's more sound. It's healthy. The O-line obviously plays the biggest part. Herbert's great, but like Ethan said, he is allergic to that atmosphere that comes out in January. So, yeah, I'm going to go Patriots.
Well, I alluded to not being a lone wolf because I'm going New England as well. Okay, final game, guys. This is Houston versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, who limped in. Aaron Rodgers loves being in Pittsburgh. So grateful Tomlin brought him there for this game. Is the veteran leadership of the Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers enough to cover the 3-point deficit at home where Pittsburgh rallies to beat the Houston Texans? Anyone buying? Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I'm actually buying.
Yeah.
I'm going Pittsburgh.
Let's go.
I know. And let me say this, right, before I get more hate on this panel. I will say this. The Houston Texans are the better team. Let me say that one more time. The Houston Texans are the better team. But the better team doesn't always win in January, right? I mean, we could go back every year in the playoffs. The better team doesn't always win. We could find example after example. I like that Pittsburgh kind of has this little momentum thing going on here after getting lucky at the very end with that missed field goal from the Ravens. The Texans, I know it was, Texans gave up 30, right, to the Colts. I believe it was 30 points the other day. I know it didn't maybe matter. I mean, they weren't playing. They had a shot. I know they had an eye on the Jaguars game as well, but I don't know. I just that Houston offense is just so suspect to me that I don't trust that they're not always consistent. I guess that's the best way to say it. And going into a tough environment like Pittsburgh, I think it could be a challenge for them. So I'll go Pittsburgh.
Ethan, I'm curious.
I am going Texans. I just think, yep, I'm sorry. I love Aaron Rodgers. I do love the Steelers. Defense is too good. Number one in the league in literally almost every single category. It's insane.
Yep.
They are on a 9-game win streak. They started the year 3-5. They finished 12-5. So they have the longest win streak in the league right now. They are red hot. Yeah, the Steelers, I just think the Steelers will be playing catch up. Honestly, I know the Texans offense is suspect, and I don't expect a huge game from their offense. But I honestly don't know if it'll matter because I think the Steelers are going to have a really hard time scoring something other than field goals. So, yeah, I just think the Steelers are going to be struggling to find points. I know Metcalf is back after that incident. But I'm going Texans. They are the better team. I just think their defense is too good. Rodgers obviously isn't mobile anymore. So
hey,
if they get in the
roll
pocket,
left last week.
He did.
He can't roll right, but he can roll left.
In the pocket, he's in mad trouble.
They're going to get in the pocket.
They're going to need to lean on their run game. They're going to need a big run game to have a shot. I do think they're going to struggle in the passing game. And I will point out, although I was heavily rooting for the Steelers on Sunday night, I do believe the Ravens would have had a better shot of upsetting the Houston Texans than the Steelers with Lamar as a mobile quarterback. I just think, I think they would have a better shot. I'm going Texans. I would be surprised if the Steelers win, not nearly as much as the Panthers beating the Rams. That one will be a shocker.
Yeah.
But I just think the Texans defense is too good, and I just don't know if Pittsburgh's going to be able to put enough on the board.
Caleb, what you got?
I'm going to go Steelers with Tim. I think Aaron Rodgers, he's here every year other than the time he was with the Jets. Mike Tomlin's been here surprisingly a lot, just like his rival who just got fired in Baltimore. I don't think he's going to lose this one, though. I think that, I keep going back to this, but there's only 7-point difference in points scored for these two teams. I think that D'Amico Ryans is a good coach, but I think Mike Tomlin has the edge. I think Aaron Rodgers, Metcalf's back. I think Aaron Rodgers is fired up. I think this team's hot when they need to be. They beat the Ravens twice in the last month, and they beat the Lions. So they're not a terrible team. I know they don't have Broderick Jones or Darnell Washington in. They're two best blockers against this edge rush that's probably the best in the league, if not second, in the Texans. So I think it's going to be close. I think Aaron Rodgers, if he can survive, I think that they're going to win this game. I really like Pittsburgh.
I've said all along, guys, that we said this at the beginning of the podcast, Ethan, this year. I said, if I didn't tell you a team and I told you, hey, here's an NFL team who makes the playoffs every year but haven't had a good quarterback in a while, we're going to go after a veteran, dare I say a Hall of Fame quarterback, bring him in and see if when the time matters, he can make a difference for our franchise. They did that. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And guess what? Like Caleb said, they're doing exactly what they said they would do by bringing in a veteran quarterback. Last year with Russell Wilson, they say that he audibled out of some things and he caused some waves by not following the game plan. It cost him some wins at the end. This year, the opposite. Aaron Rodgers has been winning those games that you said, Caleb, against Detroit, twice against your division rival to win your division, and they have momentum. The worst thing you can give an aging quarterback is a chance, and Aaron Rodgers feels like he has a chance. And that said, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, at least in this round, just for that sake alone, because I think with Aaron Rodgers, forget that they have no receivers. Forget that they lead the league in having 300-pound tight ends that are always on the field at the same time. Forget that it takes Kenneth Gainwell falling down and catching a ball on his face to score touchdowns. I think Aaron Rodgers is feeling it. A lot of love in Pittsburgh right now, and I think their defense is still capable of some magic. So I think we could be in for a surprise. My only hard thing is I don't know if I'll be up to see it. Josh, bring us home with Pittsburgh. 21 Days of Prayer, sure. Tim. I'm sorry. I
got you. No, I'm
4 o'clock comes early. You go ahead,
Yep,
Josh.
I feel you.
So, Pittsburgh Steelers, if you look back at them on Monday Night Football, they have won 23 straight home games on Monday Night Football. The last time they lost a football game on Monday night at home was 1991. So prior to Mike Tomlin.
Prime time steel curtain.
I don't know if y'all happened to watch the previous game or happened to catch the graphic they put up, but prior to that game, 66% of the receiving yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers were yards after catch. Probably a little higher than that now with how that happened, other than that Calvin Austin catch. But I just think that that's the bread and butter for this offense. I think that plays well, especially with Aaron Rodgers and his release time. I think he's second in the NFL right now. I mean, if not, he's among the league leaders in that statistic. But that's how you defeat a great pass rush, is by that, and that just happens to be how their offense is. And I'm not saying their offense is great, but I'm saying they have an answer towards the Houston Texans' number one asset there being their pass rush. We know that Kamari Laster is probably out for this game as well, so the number 2 corner for that team will not be playing. And then surprisingly, if you compare the two quarterbacks, they both missed some time this year. Aaron Rodgers finished the season 3,322 yards. C.J. Stroud 3,041 yards. So surprisingly, Aaron Rodgers had a better year than C.J. Stroud through the air.
Wow.
We know the Houston Texans offense, they started off the season not exceptional. I mean, in a lot of games where it's like, yeah, the defense is really the reason I'm picking them here, or whatever you wanted to say. It was never the offense. And then I don't think I can rely on the Houston Texans offense to match against these playoff teams. I really don't see them making it far beyond if they happen to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers anyway. Woody Marks has not been super reliable. They don't have anyone behind him at this point in time, either Jahar Jordan, who has filled in, another rookie, as he's now injured. So I just cannot rely on their offense enough to pick them, and I think the Steelers match up well for what it's worth.
Well, the irony, Josh, too, it's looking into our crystal ball a little bit. The 4 and 5 seed is, Pittsburgh's 4, Houston's 5. So theoretically, if the Bills should win, it looks like the Bills would get the Broncos. But if Jacksonville wins, then that means Pittsburgh or Tennessee will probably get the Broncos. So, they're going into the fire. In other words, if Houston does get the win, they're likely getting the number 1 seed next, which could be rough sauce for them, needless to say. Well, you have managed, Ethan, to be the Lone Ranger, the Lone Wolf on Houston.
I like it.
And me on San Francisco. We have unified for the Rams and the New England win, and we are split by a house on Chicago. And Jacksonville, not Chicago. So this is an interesting one. I'll get these picks up for our viewers and listeners to see here shortly. But yeah, guys, this is dare I ask of this lot? If I know, Tim, you and Ethan do your Super Bowl picks and put them on the fridge before the year. Are you close, or is it over? Can you guys still get it? No? Okay.
So my pick
not
was
Ethan,
the
just
Bills
Tim.
my pick was the Bills beating the
Lions.
Bills beating the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
So that's not happening.
Okay.
Probably either way.
I don't really want to pick a Super Bowl champion at this point unless y'all feel heavily convicted by it. I think
Sure.
Yeah,
you want to, Caleb?
Sure. I mean, Josh said it, but I'll do it.
Josh, you will or no?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, well, then we're doing it. We'll do it from this point forward. Caleb, give me a scenario.
Okay, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, how great would that be? Oh, my gosh.
I think Stafford and Lawrence, coming out of college, were both compared to each other. They're very similar players statistically in college. And then I think now Lawrence, with the good coach, is finally turning into that guy. He plays safe football. He scores 3 to 4 touchdowns a game the past month. Really after their bye. I think they almost lost to the Cardinals, or did lose to the Cardinals. I forget which game it was. But they've been on a tear since then. I think they had eight straight wins, like Ethan said. I think team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think McVay, if you just look at the NFC bracket, I mean, they have to play Seattle again if they beat the Panthers, which we're assuming they will. Mm-hmm. If they get through Seattle, they're there. They're in the NFC Championship against one of these other teams, and I think they can beat all of them. So if they can beat the Panthers and Seahawks, they're going, in my opinion.
So Caleb, let me just recap. The Rams will beat Carolina to play the Seahawks. They will beat the Seahawks in Seattle. And then Buffalo will lose to Jacksonville, and the Jacksonville will beat Denver at home. That's your scenario. Josh?
Yep.
Yeah, don't hate me.
I don't, so our listeners are going to destroy these picks, by the way. You're okay,
Jaguars.
Versus?
I would have said Rams, but
I just don't know if they're going to take the Rams.
I don't know.
We have not
They
talked
have-
about this, by the way. So
No, I'm throwing it on
No.
everybody.
I will say I'm most confident in the AFC. I think I like the
Yeah.
AFC candidate over
agree.
the NFC. I think there's just holes in the NFC's game right now. But I'll say Jaguars and Rams.
Okay. Wow. Ethan, are you in a position with which you'd like to put your neck out and say the teams at this
Yeah,
point?
sure. I've been
Okay.
thinking about it. Okay, NFC side. So I have the Packers winning. So as a 7 seed, they'll be playing in Seattle. And then I have the Eagles playing the Rams. I have the Rams winning. I think the Rams are the better team. And then I have Seahawks beating Green Bay in Seattle. Too tough an environment. And so that would set up NFC West championship between Seahawks and Rams. Obviously, they've had phenomenal games this year.
Yeah.
I can't trust Sam Darnold. So I'm going to go Rams out of the NFC. And
Wait till I
then
read
AFC with my Texans pick. That's right, Houston Texans. What are they? 5 seed. 5 seed. I have the Bills 6 seed winning. So the Bills would play Broncos. Bills Broncos. Broncos winning that, and then Texans Patriots. I probably have New England winning that, which would set up New England versus Denver.
Yep.
And I think Denver's the best team in the AFC. So then I would have Rams versus Broncos.
Okay.
Yep.
I think Rams. The Rams are just so good this year. Their offense is so good. Matthew Stafford has so much experience. So I would go Rams over Broncos.
Caleb, did you tell me, Josh, who would win the Super Bowl?
Jacksonville.
Y'all both have
And the
Jacksonville
Browns.
to win.
The Browns hold next year's first for Jacksonville because they traded up to get Travis Hunter. So the Browns will be the 132 if Jacksonville wins.
All right, Tim, give me your scenario or just give me your Super Bowl. Either way.
By the way, Jacksonville has done all this without Travis Hunter. How crazy is
That's
that?
right.
Yeah, it is crazy.
But, I'm going to go just to be a little bit different. I kind of agree with what the guy said. All three of those guys, I think they're in the ballpark. But I want to be a little bit different, and this isn't unrealistic. I like a Seattle Denver Super Bowl.
Okay.
Rematch.
I think Seattle is really hot right now. Seattle, I'm the one that keeps saying I don't trust Sam Darnold. Week after week, I've picked against them because I'm like, I don't trust Sam Darnold. Well, what's Sam Darnold done? He keeps winning. They keep winning these tough games. They won.
And their defense is really good.
Right. Their defense is phenomenal. They won against San Francisco. They protected the ball. They beat the Rams. I like Sam. Did I already say who's winning it or no?
Nope.
I want to say. I'm going to say Seattle wins the Super Bowl this year. Actually,
Okay.
Wow.
I think Seattle over Denver. I think Denver has a really good defense. I think Denver is going to be a tougher place to play in versus. Although Jacksonville did just beat them a few weeks back, but I like Bo Nix. There's a lot to like about that team.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Put me down for Seattle over Denver.
Okay. Well, it's written down if you really need to see it. It's written
I have
down.
one
All right, there you go. There you go.
point.
What do
Go
you
ahead
pick,
before
Sal?
I
wanna hear
before I
yours.
make mine.
Yeah,
ahead,
real
boys.
quick. At the beginning of the year, it's on tape. One of these episodes, I said Steelers Packers Super
Find
Bowl. I said it.
Steelers
And
Packers.
it's still alive right
Can I-
now.
It's alive. Yes.
But I'm not
Can I
picking it now.
mention?
No.
I want to mention
Go ahead, Josh.
one thing about the Denver Broncos. This year's Super Bowl is being played in San Francisco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
So the only team
Never
to win
been
the
a
Super
home team.
Bowl at Levi Stadium is the Denver Broncos
Mm-hmm.
over the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
So you're saying a rematch, Carolina?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Panthers Super Bowl.
So for those of you
Chargers.
those of you who heard my hot take early, Jacksonville will beat Buffalo in the first round. I'm sorry, Buffalo fans. I love y'all. I mean, I love the two fans that I know that are Buffalo fans. The
It's
rest
going
of
to be
y'all, I
funny
don't
when
care.
we're dead wrong because we all.
Yeah, I know. New England will beat the Chargers. Unfortunately, they're too hobbled, which means Jacksonville will take care of New England. On the other side of the bracket, Pittsburgh will beat Houston, as I said. However, Pittsburgh is I don't think stand a chance against Denver. So that gives me Jacksonville and Denver for the AFC Championship game. I'm picking Denver to represent the AFC. On the other side, the Rams will roll through Carolina. I've already said the 49ers will beat the Eagles, and I've said the Bears will beat Green Bay. That gives me Philly and the Bears. I'm sorry, not the Bears. I picked San Francisco. San Francisco and the Bears. I'm going with San Fran for that. And then the Rams, of course. I'm sorry, San Fran would get Seattle. It doesn't matter. The Rams, it doesn't matter. I have Rams, San Fran, Seattle as my final three. It just doesn't matter. But I also agree that Seattle and the Rams should be in the NFC Championship game. So we're all like-minded. We didn't talk about this before.
Yeah.
My pick to win the Super Bowl, remember, God's of football, y'all. This guy had to be in purgatory in Detroit for years to earn his wings. The Rams will get their second Super Bowl. Matty Stafford rides off in the sunset. And the Denver Broncos are the heir apparent in the AFC because they are a quality football team that's going to be around for a long time.
Yep.
So I got Rams to beat Denver. Tim has Seattle to beat Denver. Caleb has Jags to beat Rams. Josh has Jags to beat Rams. And Ethan has Rams to beat Denver.
Yep. Wow. Very similar teams. Not one of us mentioned the Super Bowl champion Eagles.
No, because none of us believe in fairy tales.
That's right. That's right.
And if they win, I'll eat this piece of paper, apparently, because I'll have to eat my own words. And that's okay, guys. That's okay.
Yeah.
And you guys, let me say this for our listeners, because believe it or not, I get asked this more than anything. Saturday, January 10th, 4:30 on Fox. That's where you're going to find Rams, where they're going to beat Carolina. And then at 8 p.m. on Prime Video, I have no idea either. Prime, come on, y'all. Green Bay, that's where Tim and Ethan think they're going to beat Chicago. Then Sunday.
Hold on real quick. I think you can watch that on Twitch for free. You don't have to have an account. You just open twitch.com and it should be there.
There you go.
Let's hope.
I think it used to be that way.
Every person in America has Prime at this point, so I don't know.
Pretty much.
Or Ethan, you can use your mom's account. I'm sure she has it. All right, Sunday, January 11th, the 1 p.m. game on CBS. Thank goodness, or Paramount Plus if you're that guy. Buffalo Bills lose to the Jaguars. That's my hot pick. And then, of course, Fox has the 4:30 game. San Francisco beating up on them Eagles. I'm the only one. I know. And then 8 p.m. on NBC, the Chargers and New England. That leaves Monday Night Football, essentially ESPN, ABC, ESPN app, at 8 o'clock. Again, why can't they start early so I can watch this thing?
The Steelers, they're going to do it.
That's a rough one, guys. But that is where Wildcard Weekend is going to be. So make sure. Go ahead, Caleb. You had a point before we close.
No, it's Josh.
Oh, Josh.
I was going to say, it's going to be a slow death for the people that don't want to watch the Steelers if they do win, because they had a primetime game. They have a primetime game this week, the last of the week. And then if they win, in all likelihood, they're going to play a great team and be in primetime again. So get a good month potentially of Steelers primetime games.
This is Monday night. Okay. I'm in Hampton on Monday, so I can actually probably sneak up on that because, all right. I was worried that I got to get up even earlier. But I love getting up for the record.
They won't score in the first quarter.
Right.
You can skip that.
Yeah. Matchup of the week. Obviously Green Bay fans here on the bottom of our screen, they're going to say Green Bay, Chicago is the best matchup of the week. I don't disagree. They're all great. Well, they're not all great matchups because nobody cares about Carolina and LA. Let's be honest. No. And we live here in close to Carolina country, but
I think that Bills Jaguars is very important because I think everyone in mainstream other than the Broncos being the 1 seed has already said that the Bills, this is their year to do it. And I think if they're out round 1, then that's the biggest upset in the whole playoff picture, I think.
Well, we've already alluded to it. I mean, if San Fran and Jacksonville pull off these upsets or win these games, essentially, you might see a regime change in Philadelphia and Buffalo. I would not be surprised. I think we all agree that could be no chance.
More so the Bills,
No chance. Any other coach, no chance, with the exception of maybe Tomlin, which I don't see that coming at this point.
Right.
I don't think there's any chance a single coach in this league loses his team over these losses, except for McDermott and the kid from
maybe
Elf.
Sirianni. Yeah.
Sirianni.
Yeah. Did you know that, Ethan? If you look at him, Sirianni, there's memes out here where he looks like the kid from Elf that grew up. It's kind of cool. It's not a slide. He looks like the guy. I think it's kind of
no, he does.
Nick Sirianni. Yeah. Well, anything you guys want to wrap with before we get to Wildcard Weekend? Josh, I don't know if I like sit down, Josh. You look relaxed. Stand up, Josh, is a little more like forward,
I'm just thinking about the wide receiver play in this playoffs. I mean, you have the Jaguars are spreading out the ball a ton. The Bills are spreading out the football a ton. The Patriots are. The Chargers have 3 guys with 700 yards and no clear number 1. Texans, the same thing. other than Nico Collins. The Steelers obviously have no wide receivers other than Metcalf, who, I mean, he had 850 yards this year, so that's whatever. Niners, I mean, who has receivers playing at a high level in this playoffs other than the Rams?
That's fair.
It's a very good question. Very fair. Yeah.
You don't like
Wishful
the Seahawks
thinking of
receivers?
the Eagles. I like JSN. Rashid Shaheed's a great returner. He's not done much offensively.
I mean,
there's no like wide receiver core that's dominant, other than supposedly
right.
the Eagles, but they've been MIA.
On paper, the Bears receivers should be good. They drafted a good one. They traded for a good one.
They're banged up.
But they're not good.
They're not healthy. Yeah.
They're not good. They just haven't been good. Like DJ Moore should be all world, and he's not.
Yeah.
He hasn't been. He's had flashes,
Yeah.
I guess is Golden considered a waste this year, or has he been too hurt, or just not good?
No touchdowns at all. Crazy.
Yeah.
First time they draft a receiver in the first round, and he hasn't scored any. But they've got all these guys. Their contracts are up. Watson, Dobbs. I think Reed. I don't know if Reed might have one more year, but so
No, I think Reed's is up. I think so.
So Golden will get Golden's going to be their receiver of the future, but just not as impactful this year as they thought he would be.
It took year 3 for Devontae Adams to break out.
Yeah. True.
Packers are always patient. I would not worry.
Yeah,
about
they are.
it.
Yeah, no.
Are you boys? I know the boys up top. We'll ask the guys down bottom here. Are you guys, Ethan, Tim, with us that likely offensive player of the year is the wide receiver in Carolina, McMillan?
Rookie.
Offensive rookie of the year, yeah.
Rookie of the year. Yeah, I think so, right? I would, yeah.
There's not a lot of candidates that have been productive or helped their team, and this kid helped them get to the playoffs. Is there a rookie? Obviously, Myles Garrett would be defensive player of the year because of his record-setting year.
Right.
I don't know about offensive player of the year. MVP, are we leaning one way now? Because we still have Drake May and Matthew Stafford.
Still.
You think of Stafford still?
Stafford.
Yeah,
No chance
he
anybody
has 280 passing yards a game. I mean, even if you look at Drake May, he's still in the 250s, and everyone else is essentially in the 230s. So he's playing at a higher level: yards, touchdowns, interceptions. I don't know what else there is. Drake May, he's been efficient, but yeah.
Coach of the year, we landed
I think
on this
it's
shit?
close. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going back to MVP.
Yeah, please.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
I think it's very close. I do think Stafford will win it. But I do think it's closer than you guys are making it seem. And then offensive player of the year, real quick, I think it's going to be JSN, just with the amount of receiving yards he has. I know it was a two-way race between him and Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, but last few games, Taylor hasn't been the stat maker he was in the first half, so I think JSN will take that. Sorry, keep going with.
Yeah, no, we're good. Go ahead, Caleb.
We don't talk about it, but defensive rookie of the year is going to be Carson Schweschinger, linebacker from UCLA on Cleveland Browns. He played 16 games, 146 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 picks as a rookie. 146 tackles. That's insane.
Yeah, Josh.
Browns win both defensive stats.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Rookie and overall with Garrett.
I mean, whoever gets this team, who knows who it's going to be. I still think it'd be ironic if Harbaugh went there, or if
that'd be funny.
Yeah, or Stefanski went to Baltimore. Like, that would be almost hilarious.
Right, that would be kind of funny.
Because I really want the Giants to get another bum coach like they did last time. That would be awesome.
Right, yeah.
I need them to get it. It would just suit me fine. Yeah. No, great feedback, guys. I'm curious to get back. You know, our time here, you would think gets shorter and shorter each week because we're talking about less and less games, but we always have fun things to say, so I appreciate that. Ethan, we appreciate you finally joining us, bro. Don't be a stranger to the show. We'd love to get you back on when you get some time.
Fun. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And this will be good, guys. Wildcard weekend, then we turn to our divisional round after that. So make sure you guys stay tuned. As always, like, subscribe. If you like our content, go ahead and share it. We'd love for you to leave a review as well. And we look forward to continuing into the playoffs now that the season is over, as we look into the rest of the NFL season now in 2026. So, guys, as always, thank you. And we will see you next time on Guys Without Helmets.